Okay. Is it live now? I think it's live now. Okay. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, it's done now. Okay. So this is basically the first live show on Sunni defense. So we're just gonna try a few things out before the main broadcast that is coming up soon, inshallah, with Brother Hassan, Brother Farid, Brother Hani, and Muhammad Hijab, inshallah. So we're gonna have a little discussion today on a few matters pertaining to Tashayyu. And in particular, I want to talk about what you brothers think about the Shia methodology when it comes to da'wah. Because we see recently that a lot of these new kids on the block are coming out openly, speaking about matters pertaining to Ahl Sunnah and all the usual shubahat that they've brought up, which is nothing new, but they keep recycling it over and over again.
Yeah, wallah.
And obviously, I would like to have your take on it, Hassan and Farid. What do you think about it? Bismillah.
I let Farid start, inshallah. I think one more thing, Akhi, for the viewers, Akhi, and since it gets recorded, that Sunni Defense is just a URL name. It is the official 12ashia.net
Yeah.
YouTube page. And me, Farid, myself, and you, we are all, alhamdulillah, involved in this da'wah and this project. And well, I regard myself just as a servant, alhamdulillah, in this website. And Hani, of course, he's one of the main contributors behind this project. So yeah.
By the way, just to clarify that Hani and Farid are not your teachers, yeah? Because I know there were some people. Let me just clarify for everyone. Some brothers were under the assumption that Farid and Hani are Hassan's teachers, and I can confirm that is not correct. All three of them are teachers in their own respective manner, and no one is no one's teacher.
It's not a this is an honor for me, and Farid is known. Those who know Farid,
No. Let's not get into this. That's it.
No. I don't want to throw around praises. Farid is specialized in certain fields, but none of us have ever made the claim that Fulan is our teacher and this person is Fulan's teacher. Well, in fact, some of us, doing it even longer than others, you know. So these things, these rumors that these kids spread around, ignore that, and we're gonna do our job.
That actually gave me a good idea, Hassan, for a future show talking about how you personally got involved in this field, which is a very interesting story. Actually, I'm sure many people would love to hear it, but we'll leave that for another time because I know it's a very long story. And, we'll leave that for another time, inshallah.
So anyway, I think the reason you mentioned that because they spread these rumors and like children.
Yeah.
And it was with regards to the most recent discussion they had on this Titans TV, where Farid and Hani appeared having like 1/10 or 100th of the time of the Rawafid.
So to be fair, it's 1/8. It was pretty much 1/8, yeah.
Yeah. And then so they wanted to say, oh look, the Bakris, we've given them unrefutable answers. We had 10,000 times more time than them. The thing is, not on a serious note, I swear, when I watched that video, when I saw their faces, when Hani had obviously at least some time, how Hani ripped them apart, how explained to them that, ya masakin, yani, wallah akhi, where shall I start? When Hani said to them, you don't even know the definition of wasiyya. Wasiyya means when somebody leaves a testament, there is one definition. That it's not wajib. You know, they made claims that it's wajib. And then all the mistakes they make. By the way, some of them, Abu Isma'il, and it's very important, especially in regards to me, they always like to mention that. They say mocking and making mistakes in Arabic. And have you seen some of them even undermined the importance of the Arabic language? They said, so what? What is important if somebody knows Arabic or he doesn't? when we, me personally, or anyone else who rightfully should do that, and these people talk about the deen of Allah, about the Sahaba, if they make constantly, because I make mistakes, I make hundreds, thousands of mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, makharij mistakes. I don't know, mistakes in Arabic, mistakes in quoting. It's not the issue. Is not of mocking people whose language is not Arabic. The issue is here people talking about the deen of Allah, not just without ilm, but with jahl murakkab, yani with the deepest form of jahl. And where should we start? And have you seen the Sayyid Ali guy reads the book from where he quotes, yani a copy of Sahih Bukhari, I think it was a copy of Sahih al-Bukhari, and I think that he read where it's printed. He read Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, as river. Riyadh, Ra, Ya, Alif, Bat, and river. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's, you know what?
Hassan, you gotta be fair, man. You gotta be fair. His heart is, يعني, you know.
No, but the thing is, look, we all make mistakes when it comes to like Arabic and pronunciation. Obviously, I'm not expert myself, but you know, there are some things which is just, you know, come on, man. It's,
okay, what do they call it in English? You know, they like to correct my English, although English is not my native language, and English is not the language of the deen of Allah.
Yeah.
What do they call it in English? Hallmark? If it's a specific trait of a people, of a sect, of
Hassan, obviously, you know, we can't blame people like Sayyid and, you know, these Blade Runner kids for not knowing the Arabic. I mean, even the scholars don't speak proper Arabic. I mean, what about these guys, you know? Even the biggest Maraja, Thai heads can't even speak proper Arabic.
You know? Remember the screenshots that were spread by anti-Majus, radiallahu anhum? Remember when they screenshotted Allah Yari's English YouTube Facebook channel, and Allah Yari was taking the mic. Well, not just, he was saying the truth, yani, in this regards. He said the Arabic in Najaf is poor. Learn Arabic in Egypt, Bakris, radiallahu anhum, the Sunnis. Learn Arabic in Egypt or in Medina al-Munawwara. If one of their own knows what a disaster it is when it comes to Arabic. And again, this is very important. It's not about making mistakes. I make mistakes, plenty. Right now, maybe, in the future. It's not about that. It's about talking about the deen of Allah. Someone like this Miskeen Sayyid Ali, the other one Rizwi, Naqvi, Taqvi, all these Maqvis. And then you quote them. You say, I'm now quoting the most famous Salafi scholar, Ibn Utaym.
Forget Ibn Utaym. He's trying to say Ibn Uthaymeen. He called him Sulaim bin Qais. So Sulaim bin Qais.
Imagine Muhammad Hijab in his discussion with them said Tubrasi is an Iranian name, non-Arab name. It has different ways of pronunciation. Tabrasi, is no problem. However, Saduq, there's one way to pronounce it. You can't say Siddiq, Saduq. Imagine me talk about Shi'ism and calling Saduq Siddiq or something. I mean, what? They talk about the deen of Allah. They talk about the ulama. They want to quote. They say Ibn Utaym. And then, akhi, these very people demand scholars. That's the funny thing. The problem is not to make mistakes. I repeat.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody has rights. Everybody's a human. We are not here to mock people for their mistake. Is not the problem, mistakes. That's what they don't understand. Hassan Shemrani mocks us. You know, that's not the issue. Ya miskeen. The issue is if you can't pronounce Ibn Uthaymeen, and if you say Ali don't know the difference between Riyadh and river, how can you talk about the deen of Allah? How can you talk about Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu wa alayhi salam? How?
Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, that whole Titans thing they done. Obviously, we are preparing a response for that, which will come up, inshallah. So, you know, there's a lot to be said on that.
I wouldn't even call it preparation, because
no, it's not preparation. But obviously, you know, there's obviously we need a Hani, but unfortunately, Hani.
It's a lack of organization on our end, more than a lack of preparation. To be honest, I think that me and Hani, when we were there, we could have just spoken about the whole thing without any preparation. To be honest, it was just the time constraint was the issue.
Yeah.
Another issue is طبعا كلام. You know, looking back, watching the episode again, I honestly, I'm not too fond of Kalam,
Mm.
and I don't think I'm ever going to be showing up on his channel again. And I think that, and I think we all know this. You know, Kalam is trying to hyper. What's the word? Hyper.
He's gassed.
He's gassed. Yeah, he's gassed. You know, and then he's trying to make everything seem greater than it is. He's trying to get in the views.
Yeah, you see, well, the thing is, you know, I know Kalam quite well. You know, me and him, you know, don't really get along recently. You know, Kalam is a businessman, and you know, he thinks like a businessman, and whatever sells on his channel, you know, Kalam would do it. But what strikes me, which is very amusing for me, is that, you know, these kids seem to think that Kalam somehow likes them, and, you know, Kalam is interested in Tashayyu. I mean, the way these guys seem gassed up when Kalam goes on his kind of whole, geez, oh man, when he started doing his whole show, you know, these kids, you know, just jump around like, oh, you know, he likes Shi'ism, he like, they don't understand that. Listen, Juhal, like, you know, he doesn't like you. He just, you know, he just likes the hype of the film.
Oh, one thing that I really like to point out is when Kalam, when Hani was speaking, there's one part where he was speaking, and Kalam asked Hani for a reference, and Hani said, I don't have a reference on me. So I quickly like Googled up the reference, and I had it on screenshot mode for the reference to be seen, and you know, it was just ignored. And I felt that, I honestly do feel that there was some bias, man. And you know, you can tell by his reaction to everything that the Shias were saying, you know, the woo wee, and you know, all that stuff.
You know, to be honest, like I said, to be fair, you know, he is a businessman end of the day.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care any less whether it's Shia or Sunni. Obviously, he's more inclined towards Shi'ism because obviously Sunnis are the one that's been giving him a hard time recently. You know, it's only Sunni
Right.
that refute him. It's only Sunnis that stand against him. Obviously, Shias by their nature are very deceitful, and they will always ally themselves against anyone who kind of stands against Ahlul Sunnah. This is obviously, you know, the saying goes, my enemy's enemy is my best friend. You know, and you know, both, you know, historically speaking, obviously we have, you know, many you know, examples of high history. Shias always ally themselves with the enemies of Islam, you know, just to kind of take a proper shot at Sunnis, and this is nothing new. So this, to be honest, I mean, none of us were surprised that, you know, somehow the Shias gone Titans, a channel that, you know, it's not really Islam friendly. Let's just put it that way. You know, he has, you know, he does have an agenda of himself, which, you know, he does very good in doing. And obviously, the Shias being a very small minority, you know, suffering from a kind of small man syndrome, always feeling the urge that they need to kind of, you know, promote themselves, and you know, they always have this kind of sense that, you know, we need to make some noise, you know, we need to, you know, defend ourselves, and, you know, always be kind of under, you know, beneath us in level. You know, they always have this urge that we need to do whatever it takes to kind of defend our beliefs against the Sunnis. You know, so this is nothing new to them. You know, it's always been there and always will be there.
I'm actually looking at the live chat. I see some interesting comments, some funny comments, people reacting to Ibn Uthaymeen and stuff like that.
I can't see the live chat. Where is it?
Oh, forget about it, man. Forget about it.
It's going to be all there.
It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. It's, you know, watching people react to this.
The lines of Abi Talib, are they're already insulting, threatening behind the screen? All these lines of Ali.
Actually, like everyone online seems to be a Sunni. One guy says, lots of Shias I met promote the Arab Christian persecution narrative. What do you guys think is the best response to this? Hassan?
Well, the best response to this is that Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah ruled, and including Iraq, by the way. There is no such a thing, Iraq majority. Even look, Alhamdulillah, even Bahrain, everywhere except Iran. in this ocean, and even the Iranians, most of them, and everybody knows what I say is not an over-exaggeration, is a bitter truth for the Shias. Most of them are borderline atheists and secularists anyway. Every land you see, Ahl Sunnah spread Islam and made da'wah and made futuhat, conquered the hearts. So I myself, I lived in Sham for some while. In Sham, you see the oldest churches. I remember I was in Jordan. I was in Jordan, Zarqa. When you go to Zarqa, is one of the largest cities in Jordan. When I went to the market, the main market of the city, guess what is the first thing you see? A large church. So when I asked the people, what is this? They said, it's a church. Is it a bad thing? I said, no, I'm just wondering, you know, it's a 99% Muslim city, maybe 2% or 3%, I don't know, very few Christians there. They said to me, it's normal, it's in Sham. They live here with us since like forever, obviously, and before the Islamic conquest, and their old churches are all still there. So having now conflicts now, modern day conflicts, some extremist groups like Daesh and whatnot, and persecution of Christians, nobody should be obviously too naive and completely reject the notion that there is oppression. Of course there's oppression. There's oppression of Sunnis. There's oppression of Sunnis by extremist groups, by Khariji groups. In fact, as the scholars say today, Ahl Sunnah between the Khawarij and the Rawafid. Rawafid at one side, with their ghulu and the circus and the pathetic khurafat and shirkiyat that they attribute to the Ahl Bayt. Wallahi, they're innocent. Ahl Bayt have nothing to do with these zanadiqa and the clown shows. So on one side, you have the Rawafid, the extremists who went into extreme of the Ahl Bayt. On the other side, you have the Khawarij, who have caused chaos there in the Middle East, have damaged the image of Islam, damaged the image of Khilafah, damaged the image of Sharia, no doubt. And Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, as they were from day one, as the Arabs say, Arabs have beautiful saying, Khairul Umur al-Satiyah. The best of the matters are the matters in the middle. Ahl Sunnah were always in the middle. Always in the middle between two extremes. Even when it comes to Aqidah and all these issues. No ghulu, no extremism, no going to extreme of the Ahlul Bayt, neither being like the, going to extremes of Ahlul Bayt, nor hating them like Nawasib, nor being like Khawarij. They are in the middle. And the notion that it's the Sunnis and their extreme and everything in the Middle East, and of course, unfortunately, I wouldn't have expected it, that many Shias come out and say, well, we have to be fair, it's not all Shias, but there's many. You see them online, they're activists, this Rafida org people did it, and others, that they throw the Sunnis under the bus. They say, oh, it's Sunni Islam, that's extreme, not us. And in miskeens. I remember time, let me just mention this one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I was following a discussion online between a Shia guy and some Kafir guy. The Shia was arguing that it's Sunni Islam, that it's very evil, the evil Bakris. Umar, Abu Bakr, Uthman, radiallahu anhum, these people. Sunnism is inherently evil, bad, extreme. The Shi'i, the Miskeen, they are not familiar with the Quran. Quran, generally speaking, Ahlul Quran, Ahlul Sunnah wa Jama'ah. All the books about Tajweed, all the books up, all from Ahlul Sunnah wa Jama'ah. The best Qurra, generally speaking, Ahlul Sunnah wa Jama'ah. Tafasir, without Batiniyah, without ridiculous Batiniyah. Look at the Tafsir al-Qummi, Kashani, Tafsir al-Qummi, Ayashi, look at the Tafsir. Ahlul Sunnah wa Jama'ah are the people of Quran. So this Miskin Shia was trying to attack Sunnis as a body, as a group. You know what the Kafir did? The Kafir recited one verse. The verse about Muharaba. Well, Allah says what to do in an Islamic state, obviously, in an Islamic environment, if the hukum applies under certain circumstances, with people who murder other people, rob other people. Everybody can look up the Quran. It's harsh punishment for it. Then the Kafir asked the Shia guy, is this your Sahih Bukhari? Is this in the Muslim? The Shia said, that's Quran, but we interpret it differently. No way.
Yeah.
Differently. The Kafir did not fall for this, obviously. He said, what do you mean? This is a Quranic verse with a very severe, harsh punishment for robbery, armed robbery. As a Muslim, I'm ashamed of this hukum. Is in the Quran. But these people throw Muslims under Ahl Sunnah under the bus, and then they cite some ahadith here or there about Khalid bin Walid, some riwayat, some ahadith about the Prophet ﷺ, how he applied a harsh punishment on someone and say, oh, look, we don't have this. This is a childish method. And I advise people definitely visit shiascams.com. Allah bless them and reward them. There you will find entire articles about extremely for the secular, liberal, modern day Western view, harsh punishments from Shia books that Ali ibn Talib applied on homosexuals, on lesbians, on apostates, on burning them, throwing everything you want, you can find that. These things are in their books. Harsh capital punishments are in their books. If the issue is if they say, well, yeah, but we disagree with Daesh, how they apply it, and so we as well. We are innocent of Daesh as well. If you are innocent from Daesh, we are min bab awla. We are even more innocent. So, this is just a cheap attack. Ahl Sunnah spread Islam. Christians and Jews lived with Ahl Sunnah mostly. The oldest churches in the world are in the lands of Ahl Sunnah. Whereas the oldest mosques here in Europe, maybe 100, maybe 140 years. I remember in Germany, I think there's like 120 years, or that's like the oldest you can get, maybe.
Allah barak fik, Hassan. Someone just posted asking, could you guys tell us about the Sunni hadith that are given against us when Shias claim it says in your book too, etc. These hadith, these hadiths, I've 9 out of 10 times never even heard of these people they're quoting. Are those hadiths true or twisted out of context? I think he's just talking in general. I think I'm gonna respond to that one if you don't mind. All right. So basically, we have to keep in mind is that Ahl Sunnah did a really good job at quoting a lot of material, even if it was problematic, even if it went against the views of the authors. But what they did was you just have to keep this, you just have to be aware that they quoted a lot. As opposed to Shias who seem to more or less mainly quote what was in their favor.
Yeah.
Of course, Ahl Sunnah, just because a narration is in a Sunni book doesn't mean it's authentic. So you always have to look up the authenticity of those narrations. And especially for late books, because late books are a lot more lenient and they will quote a lot of Shi'i material. Sometimes Shi'is try to push the scholar as if he's a Sunni when it's quite clear that the scholar is a Shi'i. So examples of this are Ibn Sabbagh al-Maliki. Okay, it says Maliki right there. However, if you look through his book, it's a 12-verse book. الفصول المهمة في معرفة الأئمة. It's a 12-verse book. القدوس الحنفي's ينابيع المودة. It's a 12-verse book, man. He's quoting Farad al-Sultan. Farad al-Sultan is quoting Abu Ja'far ibn Babawayh al-Saduq, a major 12-verse scholar. So there are these games that are being played. You have to just, you always have to be cautious with what's being sent to you. You have to examine the change. You have to ask a scholar. And it's quite tough. It could be tiring, which is why a lot of people, even some students of knowledge, they say, if you're going to debate me, quote something from Bukhari and Muslim, quote something that I know is authentic. And that's a much safer way of handling these discussions.
This brother, Angry Pat, he says, he asks, guys, they've also mentioned in the video about the incident of Umar radiallahu anh, about the pen and paper, the Qirtas hadith. Could we possibly go into that a bit? Now, we did plan to do this properly with Hani involved and possibly Mahijab. But maybe you brothers can maybe touch on it just slightly, a little bit, what you think about this hadith and how
I don't know. Hassan,
What do you
you
think?
want to spoil it? You want to spoil it by
wanna
spilling the
save
beans
it?
right now?
One thing.
Next time.
I want to comment on one thing with regards to this hadith and the discussion, the recent discussion. Remember, brother who's commenting and anybody else who's listening and watching. Remember when they had the discussion, brother Abu Isma'il and brother Farid, when Farid and Hani, sorry, had the discussion last week. This one of these Rizwis, Naqvis, I don't know which one, Raza, I don't know, yani, which one was it? One of them said, I think it's the one with the A'udhu Billah. You see, look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yani, you fadhi hawla, yani, you know, this when they wear this is yani, this is not from the Sunnah. This is tashabbuh bil kuffar. You know, when you wear swords, obviously it looks like a cross. If you wear a sword this way, it looks like a cross. And he wears this from the Sunnah of Ali bin Abi Talib. Is this a sign of a muwahhid to wear a cross like this? Anyway, when this guy with the Ali bin Abi Talib cross-like thing around his neck, when he was talking, the guy who made these allegations against me, baseless allegations, he said, listen, they say follow Salaf al-Salih, yeah? Sunnis say follow Salaf al-Salih. Ibn Abbas narrates this hadith in Bukhari, or I think there's a version in Muslim as well. Ibn Abbas is one of the Salaf. So here, follow your Salaf now. Ibn Abbas cried when he mentioned this hadith, follow your Salaf now. Yeah? And then he said to this Kalam miskin guy, they say Quran with the understanding of the Salaf al-Salih. And this, of course, these things they have learned from the other miskin. This Hassan Qadri. Things he understood al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He knows our principles and, you know, following Quran and Salaf al-Salih. First of all, dear brother and anybody else, we have to understand the basic principle before we even dwell into these matters. When Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, when we say Quran, ala fahm salaf hadhihi al-ummah, the Quran or the understanding fahmul Quran based on the understanding of the Salaf and the Ummah, this is obviously a general statement. It is am. What do I mean with general am? What I mean, or what every Muslim Sunni learned person means with that is, of course, that these Salaf, the early generation of Islam, Sadr al-Islam, they were not ma'soom, they were not infallible, and they were not 100% each of them correct in every matter. Not even in the matters of Aqidah. Yes, there were some who lived in the times of the Salaf, who are not Salaf al-Salihin, the righteous ones. Example, Yazid. Yazid, according to majority of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, was a wretched individual. A wretched individual. Some said a cursed individual. Didn't he live in the time of the Salaf? Is he now from the Salaf al-Salih? Now some might say, yeah, but Ibn Abbas is one of the good Salaf to you. He's a Sahabi. Why you can't compare him to Yazid. Correct. Ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhuma, he and his father, was a righteous man and was a Sahabi. And by the way, he's from Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah took their religion from Ahlul Bayt. Ibn Abbas is a real Hashimi, a real member of Ahlul Bayt, not Istanis, Mistanis, and all these people who can't say the first verse of Fatiha correctly. Or others who don't know the difference between Riyadh it's the truth.
Sulaim bin Qais.
Habrul Ummah, scholar of this Ummah, our tafsir are filled with the statements of the cousin of the Prophet, Abdullah ibn Abbas. So what does it mean now taking from the Salaf? Everything the Salaf said is correct? Literally everything? No. Because it's a general statement, is a general qa'idah that the best understanding of this Ummah were with the Sadr al-Islam, the foremost of Islam, the Sahaba and their students, generally speaking, had the best understanding. And it includes, of course, the Ahlul Bayt. Now, does it mean that everything Ibn Abbas says is right? Kalla. No. Dalil, easy. Ibn Abbas was known to give fatwa for the permissibility of mut'ah after the demise of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Hassan, Allah barik fik alayhi salam. Please keep it short.
Ibn Abbas gave fatwa for the permissibility of mut'ah after the rise of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I saw these masakin from this roadrunner and whatever they're called, they use this as well as a hujjah. It's not a hujjah. Why? Subhanallah. Another of our salaf, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salam wa radiyallahu anhu, he was the one who refuted Ibn Abbas. In fact, he called him in Sahih Muslim, you are a lost man. With regards to this topic, Ali got angry. He said, how dare you give fatwa on this? Ibn Abbas, by the way, gave fatwa based on rukhsa, in very, very specific circumstances that mut'ah is allowed. Anyway, we don't want to talk much about that. Point is, Ibn Abbas, with all his knowledge, we might reject from him something. Of course, because he's not ma'soom. And we might reject from Abu Bakr, and we might reject from Ali bin Abi Talib. Nobody except who, as Imam Malik said, from the man who is buried there, from this grave, i.e., Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Malik pointed to him. So that's it. So Ibn Abbas narrating the narration in Bukhari, is it authentic? Yes. But Ibn Abbas crying on that day, and then the Shia, coming with their conspiracies and all claims with no essence, like the Prophet wanted to write Ali's Khilafah and stuff like that, and Ibn Abbas cried. That doesn't mean that Ibn Abbas is for us ma'asum. Ibn Abbas is one of the Salaf, narrated it is authentic. But this hadith, and now I give the mic to one of you guys.
So, I think we've got Hani in here. Hani, are you here?
Last sentence. Razitul Khamis, like every other narration. Everything Rafida quotes, even if it turns out in reality to be against them, then for them. Hujjatun alayhim, not lahum. Hujjah against them. And you can see this with you see this with Qadir hadith, and you will see it with this Thursday tragedy hadith. Ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan wa sahlan, Brother Hani. Nice to have you.
Hani's back on the staircase.
On the staircase again. Waiting for fire to happen. So
we're live, Hani. MashaAllah. At the moment, live on the channel, we have 15 people. So it's quite a large number. We should have like 15 people on the Hangouts, man. It's large enough, I guess. I have a quick comment on Razit al-Khamis, since we're talking about Razit al-Khamis. We're not supposed to. We're kind of ruining the next episode, but I just have this one sentence I'd like to share. Very simple, basic idea. Imagine you're on your deathbed, and you're going to have a group of people write your last will, and they all have a hand in it, or it's something that could go against their wishes, or it could go against their desires, it could go against what their goals and hopes and dreams are. Would you have them in the room writing your will?
Well, akhi, according to Tashayyu, the Prophet constantly had the most evil people surrounding him, Sallallahu
That's it. There doesn't need too lengthy of a response. It's just a thought.
What about there's one brother, he asked, what would you say about the claim that Ibn Abbas isn't a reliable person due to converting to Islam 2 years before the Prophet's death? I think the brother means Abu Huraira, not Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas didn't convert 2 years before the Prophet's death. I think the brother means Abu Huraira, to be honest. What would you answer that about Abu Huraira not being reliable because he accepted Islam 2 years before the Prophet's death?
Well, let's wait to see what the brother says, first of all. Let's give him a chance to, if he didn't mean Ibn Abbas or Abu Huraira.
Ibn Abbas was a child who grew into Islam.
Yeah.
I think the brother means Abu Huraira, because I've heard this shubha many times from Shias.
Who makes the claim? Since when do we have this in Islam? Since when do we have this in somebody who was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam 2 years? By the way, as far as I know, the most opinion is
the government
is with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Okay, the brother means Abu Huraira. Okay. Yeah. So how would you brothers answer that?
Hey, Abu Huraira, he actually converted in the year 7, I believe. right after Khaybar or at Khaybar, or met Rasulullah specifically at Khaybar, but converted slightly before. So, I mean, sure, it's a late conversion compared to the rest of many companions, but what does that have to do with reliability? That is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what has to do with reliability.
Well, Farid, I think I know why.
Yeah, what do you think?
This evil Abu Huraira, as they always portray him, he was so evil in the 3
Yeah.
years of the Prophet. One day he was sitting and he said to himself, let me fabricate a hadith. And then he said, Al-Hassan al-Hussein Sayyida Shabab Hussein are the two masters of the Shabab, of the young people in Jannah. By the way, viewers, you know who one of the rawad is of this hadith? And one of the this hadith was narrated by more than one Sahabi. And it's a fadila of Hassan and Hussein. The problem with the Rafida is, you see, it's always with all those religions who worship human beings and bones. Human beings on this, who walk or who are buried. In all false religions, when they see fada'il, they see a demigod. Example, don't Christians say, but Jesus Christ touched the dead, and then they rose from the dead. Jesus Christ healed those who were blind. Jesus Christ had no father. I mean, yeah, he had no biological father. We say to him, Ya miskeen, Adam was born with a biological father and no biological mother. So then Adam must be then a super god then. So you see, same with these people. All the fada'il about Ahl al-Bayt, the authentic ones, reject them. In fact, we have narrated them in our books. Mr. Evil Bukhari has whole chapters about the fada'il, merits of Ahl al-Bayt. Is this an evil person? But these merits do not constitute divine leadership, divine powers. When he does poof, the Imam, you know, all the universe crumbles. No. And then, subhanAllah, you have these narrations like, wallahi, most of them, they can't even, if you would say to them in Arabic, even one word from narration, you wouldn't even know if you're talking about fried chicken or about the hadith. That's how jahil they are. Al-Hassan wal-Hussein, Sayyida Shababi Ahl al-Jannah. Al-Hassan Hussein are the two young masters of the, Al-Hassan Hussein are the two masters of the youth, of the young people in Jannah. By the way, some of them say, okay, then they are the masters of Abu Bakr and Umar as well. Yeah, miskeen. If we take it mutlaq, this hadith, then it means they are the masters of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also. Of course. So by default, some are excluded. Yani Hassan Hussein being their master. Anyway, this hadith, Abu Hurairah. Now you tell me, I'm Akshia. Akhi, let's play some role play, Akhi. You, brother Abu Isma'il, you, brother Farid. Abu Hurairah, wasn't he an agent of the Bani Umayyah? Yes or no? According to them.
He was.
Yeah.
According to the propaganda, he was evil, liar, agent. Shubayri Miskin, the other one, who can't pronounce Maqsood. Yeah, Ibn Maqsood. Shubayri Ibn Maqsood, say one of the three main liars, I don't know, is Abu Hurairah and whatnot. This is not what they invent. Brothers and sisters, these people are not the extreme fraction from this. They're extreme by default, all of them, because the whole religion is anti-Sahaba. Sahaba the famous, looking for every shubuhat to attack Sahaba. That's their life. These masakeen, their life is not Tawheed. Their life is not Islam, Sunnah. Even this marshmallow, what is his name? This Hassan Qadri went to hide one day and said, I call to Tashayya, Adalat al-Sahaba. Yeah, not one word about Tawheed. Not one word about Islam, Sunnah, praying. Look at the Sunnah, how we follow the Sunnah. We are the Rafida. Nothing. What do you have? What are you known for? Nothing. So here my question, Akhi. Abu Hurairah, who narrates this hadith, why on earth would a liar narrate such a thing? Why on earth? Al-Mu'minin Aisha narrated Hadith al-Kisa. Why would she narrate the Hadith al-Kisa? You know the Hadith? And which they misuse. Why? You guys answer me. I know one answer, by the way. You know, if they think that I don't know their answers, I've studied people that they regard as their shuyukh and who at the very least are 1,000 times more knowledgeable than themselves. I know they're pathetic answers from their side. But let's see what you answer. Let me ask any of you.
Ask Hani. Hani's been quiet. He's sitting on the staircase and he looks lonely.
Hani, I ask you, I play the role of a Rafidi. My name is now Abdul Hussein. Yeah, I play the role of a Rafidi.
Sharaf al-Din al-Musawi? All right.
Abu Huraira narrated the hadith about Sayyida Shabab Ahl Jannah.
Yeah.
Aisha narrated hadith about Kisa. And there's many more examples, many more from Amr ibn As, many Sahaba that they hate narrated. What do you think they say to explain this away, to water it down as usual? What is your shot? What do you think they say?
I've given this type of thing to them, and what they say is they usually say, oh, the Sahaba like to mix truth with falsehood. And they will give like really irrational answers like that. I wonder then, why didn't Muawiyah also narrate the praise of Ali ibn Abi Talib to mix truth with falsehood?
Muawiyah wasn't smart enough. Muawiyah wasn't as smart.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't smart, even though he was historically known as being smart. Secondly, there's one thing about Abu Huraira is that he was actually anti-Umayyad. He's very famous for being anti-Umayyad, and he has a lot of stories between him and Marwan. And in the time of Yazid, he criticized Yazid heavily and attacked him when Yazid attacked Medina during Al-Harra.
Wait, you're talking about Abu Huraira?
Yeah, Abu Huraira. And
I believe Abu Huraira died before Yazid took power, though.
Allahu Alam, the hadith was there though. It's in the books. He criticized either Marwan or Yazid or one of these. He criticized.
He says something along the lines of, oh Allah, I seek refuge from the governance of the youth.
Yes. That's in regards to Yazid.
It foreshadows Yazid, but I just wanted to make it clear that he doesn't criticize Yazid during Yazid's time, but it's an indirect.
Oh yeah. When he was an Amir, when he was an Amir, when he was a governor, when he was not necessarily when he was the Khalifa or the head of the state, but as a governor at the time of Yazid or Marwan or whoever. He criticized Marwan when Marwan wasn't necessarily a Khalifa. Marwan was governor before he was a Khalifa.
Let me give you the answer from the scholars. Because most of the followers, they don't know Arabic. They can't even go. Yeah, they have to go. They have to learn it, inshallah. You know what this Yasir Habib says in one of his lectures when he was confronted with this shubha of mine? Look at this sakhif, pathetic answer. And they take his life and Allama and Bakri Annihilator and whatnot. He says, yeah, so what? So what? Abu Huraira narrated this in praise of Ahlul Bayt. So what? Aisha narrated this in praise of Ahlul Bayt. Didn't Abu Lahab and the Kuffar praise the Prophet ﷺ for being Al-Amin? Allahumma thani ana Muhammad. And starts in the church there. You know what? Nobody's telling this Zindiq and his people. Himar. The Prophet ﷺ was praised by the mushrikeen until when? Hey, this is Alif Ba. This is ABC. Every Muslim knows this, who knows the Seerah. Until what moment? Until the moment where he claimed what? Prophethood, and that people have to follow him, right? Until then, he was the truthful and everything, wasn't he?
Right.
Then he was accused of being a liar, a sahir, a magician, fraudster, poet, isn't it? Everything. They took everything back. Right? They took everything back, his enemies, and started only insult upon insult. So this is called Qiyas Mal Farigh. When did Abu Huraira or Mu'min Aisha went around, praised Ahl Bayt here a bit as their so-called enemies, and then on the other side, suddenly changed? No, they never insulted them. The likes, of Mu'min Aisha and Abu Huraira never insulted them, but narrated in their fadail because they were truthful. Simple as that. Because they were truthful. That's the reason. It's no conspiracy. We don't need any of this conspiracy. The simple reason Abu Huraira narrated in the merits of Hassan Hussein that the Shias misuse the scholars and their religion is because he was truthful. The reason Aisha narrated Hadith al-Kisa was because she was truthful. That's the reason. Not because you compare her to Abu Lahab and whatnot. Abu Lahab also said that the Prophet is truthful. That was before he proclaimed prophethood. So this is the cheap answers you might get from these people. And unfortunately, most of their followers, this is from my experience, you know, any answer is a good answer. My advice is to people and to the Muslimun and to the real lovers of Ahlul Bayt, the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, to not swallow every answer. The person who helped me leave Tashayyur, and from Fadlullah, was from the grace of Allah, and then with the help of the ex-Shia scholar, an Iranian man who helped me, he gave me one of the best advices I could ever get in my life. He said, do not look at the answer to an shubha, to a doubt. Do not swallow anything people give you and say, Alhamdulillah, any answer is an answer. Look at the quality. Look if it's a answer. Everybody has to look for something. For every ridiculous belief, they're going to write an article for you.
Hassan, we've got a few questions from people. Should we try to answer them quickly, or?
As you guys wish.
Yeah, there's a few questions here. Nice person says, I heard the Shi'i conspiracy that Aisha radiallahu anha was involved in Uthman's radiallahu anhu death. Hani, what would you say there, Hani?
She was involved in criticizing Uthman like some other people criticized him. And there's nothing wrong with that, but she was opposed to what they did because a group of people.
You break.
Oh, can you hear me now clearer?
Yeah, we're here now, yeah.
Yeah, so what Aisha did is what a group of other Sahaba did, was that at the final days of Uthman, because Uthman was really, really old at that point, maybe in his 80s, some of his family members took advantage of his generosity, and they began to act as if they own, the people, and then they became a bit tyrannical even. And so some of the Sahaba, they criticized this, including Aisha. They began to criticize Uthman's management of the affairs of the nation.
Honey, just
so
please
then,
fix the camera, please, bro. You're like, we gotta, a shot of your forehead.
Yeah. All right. I'm using a phone. Yeah, I'm using a phone.
That's good now.
So what happened was the fitna mongers. There's a group of people, a bunch of people who had certain tribal affiliations. They came and they gathered and they ganged up on Uthman, and they used some of the criticism of the Sahaba as an excuse to kill him. And this is what the Sahaba like Aisha and Talha and Zubair, they didn't want this, even though they had criticized Uthman. But they didn't want the man to be killed for it. And this is why they reacted very violently after Uthman's death, and they gathered an army and they went to punish the killers of Uthman because they felt responsible for what had happened. And that's the whole story of that.
Barakallahu fi. There's another one, Angry Pat. He says, another question, brother Shi'is always claim that Amir Muawiyah cursed Ali radiallahu anh. What is the best response to this? Farid, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Well, there are two statements that they've said. One is that Muawiyah, two basic arguments. One is Muawiyah cursed Ali, and the other is Muawiyah ordered the cursing of Ali. And Ali has been cursed, for decades because of Muawiyah. So those are two different arguments. To say that Muawiyah cursed Ali, I haven't come across anything apart from one narration. And Wallahu a'lam if it's authentic, in which Muawiyah says to Sa'ad, I believe, what prevents you from cursing Abu Turab? That's the only narration that hints at that. However, I don't see an issue with believing that Muawiyah cursed Ali, because Muawiyah and Ali both went to war, and war is much worse than someone cursing someone else. It's 10 times worse, it's 100 times worse. So that's one side of it. The other issue is, did Muawiyah order the cursing of Ali? That's incorrect. Muawiyah, I mean, on the manabir, on the pulpits of, on the pulpits of the Islamic Empire, basically. So, for example, one obvious evidence against this is that in Medina, when Marwan bin Hakam was the ruler of Medina, he used to curse Ali every week. However, when Sa'id al-As became the ruler of Medina, he never cursed Ali. So it shows that this wasn't something that was legislated by Muawiyah, but it was something that particular people that were in positions of power did. And Muawiyah, it doesn't seem that Muawiyah, he didn't take them out of power or anything like that. It seemed like he let them do as they please. Wallahu a'lam. But yeah, again, I don't see it as, as problematic if you already accept that Muawiyah and Ali went to war, then that's much worse than, Muawiyah cursing Ali.
And there's two types of nawasib here. There's the Khawarij and the Banu Umayyah. And Banu Umayyah, when they cursed for political reasons. The Khawarij, when they cursed for religious reasons, meaning they sincerely believed that Ali was a disbeliever, and they sincerely believed that that you can be closer to God by cursing Ali. As for the Nawasib, for example, Marwan bil Hakam was asked about Ali and Uthman, and Marwan bil Hakam admitted that Ali ibn Abi Talib defended Uthman a lot. And anyone who's read a book of history knows that Ali ibn Abi Talib went to great length to defend Uthman. So Marwan told Al-Hasan that Ali defended Muawiyah, defended Uthman a lot. And so Al-Hasan told Marwan, then why do you curse him? And Marwan said, because the political affair shall not be stable if I do not curse him. Meaning he was cursing him just to make the political mood in the favor of Banu Umayyah. He doesn't really believe that Ali was evil, it seems. It's just he's doing it.
Authentic? Is it authentic, Hani?
Wallahi, it's in the history books, and then it's musnad. I don't recall the authenticity, but these type of statements are mutawatir ma'nan, meaning Banu Umayyah cursing Ali for political reasons is pretty well known.
Because
do
excuse me here, because for the sake of clarity and for the sake of getting to the bottom of history, I recall a different Marwan bin Hakam, one who was a lot harsher, one that used to call Ali a mule, for example, and he didn't do it publicly. He did it directly, privately to Al-Hasan and Hussein. It seems he had genuine hatred for Ali. And that's authentic. There's an authentic narration where he does that. And
I'm sure he hates him. I'm sure he hates him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he hates him. Yeah.
If I make just a quick comment, with regards to the topic of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, what we should learn as Muslims, we should be balanced and we shouldn't be reactionary. I've seen it myself that sometimes Sunnis, and you see, I criticize my own people, and we should, if we see ghulu, and very careful. When I use the word ghulu now, which means to over-exaggerate, the ghulu of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, wallahi, compared to the Rafida, the extremist Shias, it looks like nothing. It's like a little mud hole, compared to a mountain. The mountain is the ghulu of the 12ers compared to the Sunnis. But Ahlul Sunnah are not ma'asumeen, they are not infallible. And sometimes you see very reactionary stances with regards to Muawiyah. For example, into very great lengths in excusing everything and saying everything is ijtihad and he didn't make any mistake at all. Look at the beautiful answer of Brother Farid and Brother Hani as well. But particularly Brother Farid's answer. Muawiyah cursed Ali.
Habibi.
Is that true? Well, he fought Ali. He had the battle. There was battle, and raising the sword is more severe than cursing. But in the end of the day, everything boils down to one thing, and this is, subhanallah, me as an ex-Shia, why I have a peace of mind. Where is Ali bin Abi Talib? Where's Muawiyah? Where? Ali bin Abi Talib from the foremost, from the Muhajirin, correct? Muawiyah from the Tulaqa. I'm not talking bad about Muawiyah. I'm just saying the reality. Ali is in one level. Muawiyah is somewhere completely else. Ali is one of the main fuqaha of the Sahaba. Rather, some have the opinions, some scholars, and I think it's attributed to Sahaba as well, that Ali was the best when it came to qadha, when it came to judging. So Ali was without doubt one of the most knowledgeable Sahaba, one with the most merits. So we don't put them even on a similar bar. No, he's much more beloved to us. However, and here's the difference between Ahlul Sunnah and extremists. What is it that 12ers want? They want takfir. That's it. It boils down to this. They want takfir of Muawiyah. Then they are happy. Only then. They want takfir of Muawiyah. And it's very ironic because it's them who always play the victim role. Oh, Wahhabis make takfir on us. Nasibis make takfir on us. We Shias, we say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. But they want takfir of Muawiyah. Muawiyah, we say, listen, we know Muawiyah did mistakes. Muawiyah is not the main narrator of ahadith of Ahl Sunnah. If you have been fooled by those with the finger on the head, no, we don't take our religion. He narrates a few ahadith, nothing compared to the main narrators in our books. He did make mistakes. We do not water down his mistakes, but you want takfir? Well, never ever. Why? Because Ahlul Bayt themselves did not make takfir of Muawiyah. We're going to drop it like this. Ahlul Bayt themselves did not make takfir. That's the reality.
Barakallahu feekum. There's another question that says, what do you say in response to that Allah having a physical form is shirk? How would you answer that? Hani, this is your field as well.
Oh, no, I mean, it's not really my field, and I don't claim to specialize in this. Is it shirk, a physical form? Well, nobody really says physical in the sense that I don't recall anyone saying specifically God is physical.
I think what
some people will say certain things that may imply, but even those people, when you question them further, you find out that they don't necessarily believe in physicality. They just affirm and they say, Allahu A'lam, we do not understand what it is. God knows best, whatever suits His Majesty. But they don't really say, oh, this is a physical thing. They don't say physical hand, or they just say, you know, whatever is written, we believe in it. So that's as most as what I've seen. As for those who actually say God is physical, I assume these are mostly extinct. They were early of the Rafida, some of the early Rafida, and a few others were Mujassima. Yeah, they would say God is an actual physical body with dimensions and all of that.
Me and you discussed this before, and you made a good point when you mentioned that there's some issues with the typical Sunni response. When we say, for example, that Allah, we affirm for Allah what He affirms for Himself. This is basically the typical Sunni response that we all use. That we affirm. So Allah says He has two hands. We affirm it for Him, bila kayf, without asking how. Now, you mentioned before, I remember that me and you spoke. You said there's some issues with this typical response. You want to clarify what that was?
Oh, I believe it's just you have the Ahl Sunnah, you have among them Asha'ira, you have some Sufis, you have some this and some that, and they'll give the different answers and different understandings of the book, of the holy book of the Muslims. And then you have the Salafis who follow the Athari and whatnot, and they have their own responses, which is mainly the one we're talking about now, which is affirming. I think it boils down to language, how they explain their beliefs.
If you guys don't mind, I'd just like to comment on one aspect of this.
Go on.
Because the question was about Allah having a physical form is shirk, and that's a Shi'i argument. Because what they try to argue is, if Allah has hands, okay, if Allah has a face, then that is shirk, because you are mentioning multiple attributes. And if Allah has multiple attributes, then you are worshipping multiple gods, and that is shirk. So that's the basic general Shi'i argument. And the simple response to this, that means, according to that knowledge, according to that logic, there's no such thing as one. Nothing in the world is one. If you're married to one wife, guess what? You're not. You're married to multiple women because your wife has hands and feet and a head. So I don't know what Kamal says, man. But yeah, just basically, this argument of multiple attributes equates worshipping multiple gods is a silly idea.
You know,
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I agree. Go ahead, brother.
you know the topic about asma wa sifat. I believe if we want to discuss this, we can discuss this with a Ash'ari brother, can't we? With someone who is a staunch Ash'ari, and we can discuss this with him. If I go, for example, and spend all my energy with a Shi'i talking about abstract attributes of Allah, which he wants to superimpose on me, that I believe in tajseem, that Allah has literally actual body limbs, which I do not believe, which Ahl Sunnah do not believe, which the Atharis do not believe, which is a misconstruction of their beliefs, we believe. And then let's say I convince the Shi'i, or I refute all his arguments, and then everybody would say to me, "Oh, you could sit with a Maturidi, with Ash'ari, you could sit with him, talk about this." Our differences with them, and when I say our, all the brothers, Ash'aris, Maturidis, Ahl Hadith, Atharis, yani, all of us reject nakfur, disbelief in Wilaya Imama of 12 Imams who are either allegedly superior than the prophets, or even if they're not superior, literally, although this is their mashhur opinion in our madhab, they are our ultimate guides. We want dalil from this. Qat'i. From the Furqan. Of course. When they say, "Oh, are you Qur'ani?" Or you want dalil from the Quran? Or no, we're not Qur'anis. But we start from somewhere, yeah, right? We start from the Furqan. That's why, for example, Akhi, when I was at the park, when I said, I'm ready to debate Shubayri, I'm ready to debate this Sayyid Ali. And the Sayyid Ali, Akhi, this Rajul is ajib, Akhi. He says to Brother Abu Muslim Khurasani, one of our team members who never showed themselves, I want to debate you. When then Brother Muslim said, well, Hassan Shemrani, he comes out and says, he's going to debate you. No, I don't want. I don't know what to say, Akhi. Hassan Qadri, who is very sour, Akhi, lately. Very sour. He's talking now about clothes, Akhi. He's talking about my jumpers, Akhi. What jumper I wear, I'm from the 50s. Yeah, he said somebody wears a jumper, or I don't know, a sheer jumper from the 50s. You know, the one time when I was in the park. Yeah, Akhi, you look like Kim Jong-il times 3. And you wear, while wearing a tight pants, Akhi, trousers in the park, Hyde Park, Akhi, when you speak of Talib
Be nice, bro.
La, Akhi. If these people actually think they have long tongues, you know what we're saying in Arabic, if somebody has a long tongue, yeah? And speaking in riddles to his own followers. Oh, Hassan Shemrani, the uncle gave him a hard time in the park. What is this uncle, the miskeen, Akhi? The uncle miskeen, who just like your own people doesn't know the difference between what musnad is and what a sahah is. And I had some fun with him, respectful talk with him. And when we finished, we hugged each other, made photos. You know, they're using these things. Now they're using clothes, Akhi. I mean, somebody, as I said.
He was insulted, man. He was insulted by your taste in fashion.
Akhi, insulted what? Why are these people acting like it? On one way, acting like very, Akhi, rough, you know? Batman, former roadman, dangerous man. I had my jahiliyyah, yeah? And then Hassan Shemrani poking here a little bit, Akhi, like a diva, Akhi, like an oversized diva. And then criticizing now, Akhi, my shirt, or his checkered 50s shirt in the park. Tayyib, Akhi, imagine me, I would go around on my Facebook and I write, Akhi, you look like Kim Jong-il times 3, or like a kebab dinner roll with tight trousers. And then on top of it, you speak of being a Talib al-Ilm and you respect the Talib al-Ilm. Hassan Shemrani is not a Talib al-Ilm. And then you say, oh, now I'm going to leave to outside the country and then I don't know when I'm going to come back and I'm never going to come back here. And then when Brother Isma'il asked him, debate with Shemrani, you one-on-one with him. I don't know, I have to ask my teachers. And if, then without camera. All these excuses, Akhi. All these excuses. You know why, Akhi? I'll tell you why. I tell everybody why they do these excuses, Akhi. Do you know why they want to talk about Adalat al-Sahabe, who killed Uthman, fitna this, hadith shubha this? Because they know if I sit in front of them and say, open the Furqan, Yallah, bring for me clear-cut verses, muhkamat, that your concept of imama is haqq, it's the truth, it's bayyin, wadih, it's clear cut. I don't ask him even for the names of the imams. This very concept of individuals after the Prophet that we have to follow them. I'm an ex-Shia. I left your whole religion because of this batil. Come, let's discuss this. Your asl of deen, your imama, your wilaya. I don't want to discuss with you Hassan Qadri or Shubairi or Sayyid Ali to prove your 12 imams from the Quran. Forget about that. You can't even prove them from the Sunnah. The imam of your first imam, the imam and wilaya of your first imam from the Quran. Muhkam verse. You know and I know. Innama yuridullah. Innama waliyukumullah. You know that other than mutashabih, ambiguous, misused, blessed verses, you don't have nothing. That is why they go around like this, akhi. That is why they talk about my shirt or the way I dress, akhi. Or, I mean, akhi, if you yourself are the most handsome guy, beautiful thobe, akhi, Kim Jong-il times 3 with tight trousers, akhi, walking in the park and speaking about talabat al-ilm and asking for, I want the talib al-ilm, I want the respected Sunni person. Who are you? Who are you? Are you a respected, known debater? Isma'il, akhi, you answer me. Hassan al-Qadri is a known, respected 12 debater?
Thing is, he's never debated anyone, so he's not in a position to make a claim in the first place.
How do you know? Maybe in private. Who cares what you do in private? It looks like in private you wear extremely tight trousers. That's what you.
Thing is, you know.
All right, let's jump to something else then.
I think Hassan.
I mentioned this, brother.
Hassan, I think
I mentioned this. No, 1 second. The reason I mentioned this is because if they think they can speak riddles, well, akhi, I speak straight in your face like this. Wallahi, trust me, akhi, I don't mind. But I doubt he will come out and say, طيب, I'm going to debate with you imama from the Quran. Imama of Ali ibn Abi Talib from the Quran. You won't. He will make videos thinking he's the king, answering dawah, calling him dawah boy, you're gonna wish. Like a child. He is offended if we poke him a little bit and he calls somebody in his refutation dawah boy, dawah boy. And his voice cringy, goes up, down, you know, high pitch. If we wanted to use all these things, akhi, we could use it. But yeah, akhi. And he said multiple times, akhi, wallahi, yes, I know Hassan Shemrani has knowledge. And now he says, no, he has no knowledge. The uncle in the park gave him a hard time. He calls himself Rafidi Terminator. Yeah, miskeen. That's not even my tongue, you miskeen, you jahil murakkab.
Well, you know, apparently he's been told by his teacher, who he wants to keep anonymous, but we know really who his teacher is. Which, inshallah, in the future we will make something about him as well. Make a nice little exposure of him.
He can bring him. Akhi, tell him.
That for another time.
His teacher and prove to us wilaya of Ali bin Abi Talib from this Quran that we have here. At least, you know what, akhi, Allah Yari is at least honest. Some of the kids ask why Hassan Shemrani doesn't debate Allah Yari. First of all, Allah Yari the liar, the snake, reported my own channel, my own video. And this is how unreliable he is. Yeah, he reported my own recording to YouTube. And he sent his lawyer on us from America, from San Diego. Akhi. So that's Allah Yari for you. But there's one good thing about Allah Yari. At least he believes in tahrif openly. He says, no, there's no, I can't prove to you Nas Sarih, Wilaya, and whatever. The Quran that we have is the Quran of Uthman, Rasm Uthman. And of course, he claims Bukhari says this and blah, blah, blah. But point is, he doesn't believe that it's a fully reliable Quran. He believes it's muhtaram. Respected for ibadah. They use it. That's it. So that's why he doesn't even want to discuss these things. He wants to discuss the tahrif, all these issues. And then imagine I debate Allah Yari and tomorrow people say, hey, this freak believes in tahrif al-Quran. He doesn't represent us Shias. So if this Hassan Qadri or this Shubairi don't believe in tahrif, طيب, come, ta'al, come here to me. Give me imam from the Quran. I don't want your 12 imams. Taqi and Naqi are nowhere in the Sunnah. Even if you sleep 1,200 years like your 12 imam. Taqi and Naqi, mafi. Your first Imam alone, he's not yours anyway. Ali bin Abi Talib is ours. His alleged Imam Wilaya from the Quran. Where? Discuss it. I swear they know they're going to be embarrassed, Akhi. They know. And I'm not saying it with any arrogance. I say any learned Sunni asking the correct questions can prove to the world their religion, the religion of the Rafida, is built upon mutashabihat. Ambiguous verses, evidences. That is why the uqala, people of intellect, people who want the truth, leave their religion, rightfully. And people who do khurafat and then say that Zainab Qadr has soul fly around, protect you, and these khurafat quburin, of course they believe this nonsense. But let's see, Akhi, I doubt that they will. If they come, wallahi, I'm more than happy to discuss this.
You made that very clear to them anyway, and they know, and for whatever reason they have turned it down. And but you know, I'm sure everyone is happy now that you know, they've exposed themselves for being, you know, who they are openly, and hopefully, bi'idhnillah, we won't see much of them anymore. The Rafidi, the corner has.
Won't see what?
I said that hopefully we won't see them much anymore, anything of them anymore, inshallah, after this. Because you know, if I was them, I would be embarrassed. You know, if you come down to 30 man plus strong, and you challenge people, and then you go running, making videos, and the Buckleys were scared of you. No one wants to debate you, you know, and then someone comes and accepts the challenge, and then you make silly, pathetic excuses that I spoke to my teacher told me don't do it. You know, I really wanted to do it, but my teacher told me don't do it. And who's this guy? Who's Shemrani? He's this, he's that. He's a terrorist, which by the way they took back, but really we don't accept it, because if you want to make a retraction when you accuse someone of being a terrorist on live TV, you have to make it public. You have to make a public separate video where you take back what you said, you apologize, and then you know, leave it. You know, we'll leave it for the person to decide if he accepts or not.
Legally, he's in a really bad situation, that person who made it, this statement. So it's up to him. But anyway, Akhi, you know the park better than me. This very same Hassan Qadri said, we just wanted to show that if we want, we can take over the park. Take over what? The park. You can take over the park because you came one day with 30 plus your own people. And then they said, so what? We came with 30 plus people. What do you mean, so what? You came with 30 plus people. You come with 30 plus people, telling people in their face, well, in a few days, I'm going to leave the country. And I'm never going to come back here. But I wanted to say, you're all cowards because now none of you want to debate with me or those who are present here. Look at the maskhara. And then Hassan Shemrani, childish. He said this. He mocked my vote. Akhi, these people, as I said on that day, as if he's really, you know, wow, he did it, Akhi. He refuted Dawah, man. Wow. So in the Dawah and Refutation series, he has a book calling Aisha, al-Fahisha al-Wajh al-Akhar li Aisha. Obscenity. You know, it could be adultery, and that's what Yasser Habib believes, the author of the book. So, Akhi, look how many things we could use against these people. To say, no, we don't want to sit with you. You guys are khubatha. You guys are... Oh, Hassan Shemrani said this about me. He's childish. I want someone with shakhsiyya. I want someone... As I said, Akhi, if somebody is now so butthurt that he talks about my jumper, as I said, himself, walking around with, you know, like, imagine Kim Jong-il, Akhi, times 3, tight trousers, walking in. I could talk like this as well, but I don't. The only reason now is a reaction from me. I did not start this. I just want to say I can play the same game. I can play the same game. Leave these things aside. If you call yourself mature, come and let's debate. I want to. If you don't want to, then they're not forced, of course. But I say it's because they're scared. They're scared. Mark my words. They're scared to debate imama. Imama from the Quran. I don't want imama from the 12 imams. Taqi Naqi nowhere. Only from the first imam. Clear verses. They will not debate. If they debate, alhamdulillah, more than ready. Any of them. Let's debate it from the Furqan. And then we can, from there on, we can go further. No, I'm not a Qur'ani. I'm not saying only there's the only way of discussing it. Only
so Hassan, yani, if the debate happens and then, or if they say from the beginning there is no imama of the 12 in the Quran, now let's discuss this from the Sunnah. You'd be open to that?
If they say there is no imamah of the 12 from the Quran, including the first, Ali bin Abi Talib, yeah, that means that this matter in no way, shape, or form can it can't have anything to do with the asl of the deen, with the matters of my salvation. And this is contradictory to the claim of their school, to their religion. Imamah is not a small thing. Imamah is the continuation of nubuwah. That's 12 of these. Except that the person having the authority is not called prophet. He's called imam. It's the continuation in a sense of protecting the religion, spreading, teaching the religion. That's the whole philosophy. So we have a right to ask, where is this in the Furqan?
All right.
I'll give you a simple, very simple qiyas. If I were to believe, that Abu Bakr is superior than the idol breaker Ibrahim alayhi salam and Jesus, and more important for my guidance than all these great prophets in the Quran that have been mentioned with details. If I were to hold such a belief, Abu Isma'il, a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim, anyone in the world has a right to ask, where on earth is this in your book? Where is this concept? Show me your clear-cut verse. And Shias don't say it's not in the Quran. Do they? No. They quote verses, akhi. They quote, إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ.
Yeah.
إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ. And so on and so forth. We then, in that situation, analyze it and show to the people, oh, look at this. Look how they cut verses. Look how they use verses about their wives for Ali bin Abi Talib. Look how they use verses that is about muwalat for mu'mineen, for Muslims, for wilayah, khilafah, hukm, for politics. Look how they use a verse about Ibrahim, and then they add Ali there because the word Imam is there. Look how they use ambiguous verses and so on and so forth. So we ask them, where's your hujjah? Where's your clear-cut dalil? I don't want to put now all my cards, but we go further. We discuss this in at least 1-2 sessions. Then we can go further, no problem. Bring me your best dalil from the Sunnah. 12 Imam hadith. 12 Khalifa hadith. Let's discuss it. Sit with me, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, Hassan Qadri. Let's talk 12 Khalifa hadith. Let's see if it's very strong dalil, as scholars claim. We can go through that as well.
Okay. There's another question from Angry Pat. He says, another accusation that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'in ran away from battles, Hunayn, Badr, Uhud, more, particularly Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Uthman, Umar, may Allah please with them all, and what actually happened. Jazakallahu khair.
We have articles on the website. Brother Hani can explain better. We have it on the website.
Hani, do you want to do a quick response to that, inshallah?
Well, I mean, again, I would refer to the article on the website. They do accuse them, I think, of running away in Hunayn, and they do accuse. And there's another battle where I think Uthman did not attend because he was busy tending to the Prophet's daughter, sallallahu, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This does happen in the Quran even once, and God forgives those who were left behind. But as for Abu Bakr and Umar, they accused them of, I think, in 2 locations of having escaped, and we have actually authentic narrations that prove the opposite. So that's about it. There was not really, they're trying to prove that they're cowards, basically, and that's pretty much it. And that's been responded to. So I don't have much to add on that.
I advise the brother type Uhud, UHUD, and Hunayn in our search bar. We have 2 articles at least about that. I think Hani wrote them. Beautiful articles, and you will see it usual. And you see they're like vultures, isn't it? Isn't it that? Is it any other way to explain it? Like vultures going to find anything about the Sahaba and to tarnish their image. Well, and it's very beautiful, that one article, I think, I don't know, is this Hani? Where it's written that how Abu Bakr and Umar participated in all main battles, protected the Prophet ﷺ. And then they bring one incident, there was chaos, and they say, oh, He ran away from the battle. And then Fadlan, and you know the issue, if we want to open, the thing is, as I said, when they open these things, they open the gates of hell for themselves. Because as you know, the 12 Imam is running from an Abbasi soldier, from one of my ancestors probably. Yeah, because I'm an Abbasi. So anyway, the 12 Imam, according to the scholars, because of fear, was running away from mortal Abbasi. Yeah. And then they come then and find something here. Oh, Sahabi was scared. Sahabi ran away. Allah Mustan. In the past, remember, they used to use the verse, La tahzan, inna Allah ma'ana, la oh, tahzan. Oh, Abu Bakr is scared here. Oh, a believer is never scared. And then they found out the jahl of the Quran, how the angels comfort Maryam when she was scared. Huh? Many examples where Salihin are scared. And then they found out that their own 12 Imam is running away from Abbasid scholars and is scared. Now, and then they took it back. Now suddenly, and then being scared is not something bad in it of itself. But imagine how evil these people are. That in the past, I remember, late 90s, you know, back then, Shia chat and their websites, they attacked Abu Bakr for the mere reason of being scared. Huh? The Prophet addressing him with La tahzan. Do not be scared. Do not be sad.
Devin McDonald, he says, when do you think Shi'ism began? Do you think the Yemeni Jewish concept Abdullah, I think Abdullah bin Sabah he means, is the most likely one who started Shi'ism? Farid, do you want to go there?
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a couple things that we have to keep in mind is that Shi'ism went through several stages. The Shi'ism of Abdullah bin Sabah basically is that, you know, holds the view of the divinity of Ali, the Imam of Ali, the cursing for Abu Bakr and Umar, and the corruption of the Quran. Now, of course, Shi'is today don't believe in the divinity of Ali. Technically, I know Hassan, wait, I know Hassan wants to like jump in, but technically they don't believe in the divinity of Ali in the way that Abdullah bin Sabah believed in the divinity of Ali. Most Shi'is today don't believe the Quran is corrupted. However, there were a lot of early Shi'is that did believe that the Quran is corrupted. So you could argue that the Saba'i belief of Abdullah bin Sabah is, you know, the father of early Shi'ism, and other sects of Shi'ism evolved from that sect of Shi'ism. But you can't really say that it's the same thing. You can't really say that, you know, what he did is, you know, the 12er Shi'ism that we know today.
Okay, let me say something now that my biggest enemy would never expect from me. I say, and I did personally, I believe for my level, you know, a pretty large research on this Ibn Sabah issue. Ibn Sabah, there's two extremes with him. One is the recent Shi'i one, as in rejected him totally. Many Shia, modern Shia scholars, unfortunately, do that, opposing that, and they are ignorant. Many of them are ignorant of their own books, of their earliest books, where their own scholars at least admitted the very existence of this person. Yes, they said we have nothing to do with him, of course, but they admitted existence. So one extreme is some or many today, modern day Shias, who have been brainwashed, have no clue that it's in their own books, so they reject his existence totally. Then there's another extreme, and I do admit it, that's the Sunni extreme, with regard to claim everything is Ibn Sabah's fault. And it's in many contemporary books, probably even older books. It's an exaggerated notion that everything was Ibn Sabah. Jamal, Safin, Maqtal of Uthman, the killing of Uthman, everything was Ibn Sabah's fault, as if Ibn Sabah was a Superman. Here, although, you know, I'm a Mukhalif, and I have no positive opinion about Tashayyur, especially the 12er version. But here we have to be fair. We have to be fair. There is among the Sunnis, especially more laymen, or including maybe even some scholars who are not, you know, specialized in this field, who repeat what is in some books. There's a slight, I would say, exaggeration with Ibn Sabah. However, the reality is, and there's an article, one of my articles that I contribute on gift2shias.com, Ibn Sabah, the spiritual father of the Rafida. If you type the spiritual father of the Rafida, Ibn Sabah, gift2shias.com, you will find the article. What I believe, I did not invent the wheel. You know, I didn't do anything. I just gathered things. You can't find it that easy in English language. What I've translated is that Ibn Saba. That's why I called it the spiritual father of the Rafida. He was known for three main traits, three main things. Ghulu with Ali bin Abi Talib. Ghulu, going into extremes with Ali. Yes, divinity and extremism. Secondly, Bara'a. Bara'a, disassociation from Abu Bakr and Umar in the name of Ali. He attributed it to Ali. And then as a third thing, maybe you can include Raj'a or other things.
Tahrif as well.
Tahrif. But I like to always mention these two main things. These two, the essence of Saba'iyya. In which sect can you find it? You answer me, guys. I mentioned two. And by the way, people who have read about Ibn Saba and some Shia Shubuhat, that Ibn Saba, it's all in Tabari and it's all about through Saif ibn Umar, who is weak in Hadith, is a storyteller. No. We have authentic narrations in other books. We do have authentic narrations, and I've gathered them in my article, Ibn Saba, the spiritual father of the Rafida. These two traits, guys, billahi alaykum, ghulu with Ali and bara'a, disassociating, hating, making takfir, insulting Abu Bakr and Umar specifically, in the name of Ali. Which sect holds up these traits until today? Only one sect, the 12th sect. That is why I believe to say that the 12th are literally Saba'is, of course you will get a simpleton response from some Shias and say, huh? But I never heard of an Imam called Imam Ibn Saba, fiqh book of Ibn Saba. Where do I take my fiqh from Ibn Saba? Now you know you're miskeen. You don't take literally your fiqh from Ibn Saba. A Catholic will also not admit that in reality he's following Paulism. Will he? Of course not. He will reject the notion. He will say, no, Paul was in fact a righteous Christian follower of Jesus. We believe that Paul was deviant, and he was deviant and he was a liar, and he exaggerated in the name of Jesus, and he changed the religion of Jesus. So yes, we do acknowledge that modern day 12ers, Baba Farid, are not literally Saba'is, but they have the ruh, the essence. That's why the spiritual father. And by the way,
yeah, I mean, they all evolved. They all evolved. I mean, from one another technically.
Sorry?
But yeah. I was saying, you know, there is an evolution. There is an evolution that happened without a doubt.
and by the way, and I hope I don't know if you can find the article quickly for us, Farid. Give to Shias. Ibn Saba, spiritual father of the Rafida. If you find my article, I've proven that according to authentic narrations, when Ali bin Abi Talib heard people making bara'a, which the extremists 12 think it's from the Asluddin, it is the religion, it's the stance of Ali bin Abi Talib. Ali bin Abi Talib, wallahi it's not. When Ali heard them cursing, insulting, disassociating themselves from Abu Bakr and Umar, what did Ali do? Ali cursed that person. Ali declared himself innocent of Ibn Saba and his cause. Ali radiallahu anhu, that's the article, yeah, if you show it.
Okay, can you see? All right, so this is it.
Go up, the title.
Yep.
Ibn Saba, the Jew, the spiritual father of the Rafida, and unquestionable truth. Here in my article, the undoubtedly authentic narrations, which prove that the spiritual father, the essence of Saba'iyya, is to be found today in 12ism. That is what we mean. We are fair enough if some Sunnis exaggerate and say everything Ibn Saba was responsible for everything, superhero. No. We reject extreme notions from Sunnis and Shias alike. But we can't reject what is in our own books. This is a hujjah evidence on us. These are authentic narrations. Maybe you can read some of it, Farid, and about the traits.
The traits?
Yeah, reports which are not transmitted. Yeah, I mean the main traits, or maybe the conclusion. You can read it.
All right, let me scroll down. Mashallah, it seems quite lengthy. This is on par with stuff from You Punctured the Ark, Yahi.
Yeah. By the way, I tried to be very fair in this article. I know that Shia scholars who admitted that Ibn Saba existed, that does not constitute that, oh, these Shia scholars meant that we are Sabaites. Of course not. We have to be fair towards our opponents. Those Shia scholars in the past who admitted that Ibn Saba existed only spoke half the truth. How? They only admitted his existence and some of their own narrations that the Imams cursed the Saba'is for calling to the divinity of Ali. We say as Ahlul Sunnah, half of the truth.
We're just laughing at Hassan's article. Even his article is
Hassan, it's so you.
comedy. It's pure comedy mixed with
This is so Hassan, like, you know, you don't even need to put your name on it, man. You know.
Yeah, chain
What
smoker.
is the wrong?
crack addict.
By the way, if you guys are wondering about the battle of Hunayn and the battle of Uhud accusation thingies, there's an article on the website. The name was "Who was the bravest companion?" So if you write "Who was the bravest companion?"
Beautiful.
It's two parts. Yeah, it's two parts. One part was by I think Ibn Hazm's opinion on who was the bravest companion, which is an interesting point of view. And the second part actually discusses and shows authentic narrations about Omar and Abu Bakr standing their ground during battle and not escaping. And these are authentic narrations. They're not what the Shia bring, because the Shia will bring one or two that are weak, and they will cite like multiple sources for them, but it's just only like 2 or 3 narrations that are very, very weak. Whereas when we provide the authentic stuff and it shows the exact opposite of what they're saying. So you can find that in the articles section. You can Google it. Who was the bravest companion?
There's another question from Mr. Manager saying, how should we deal with the Shia, especially the 12er kind in general? Are we allowed to sit with them, etc., despite what they may do in their lives, such as the slander against our beloved Sahaba? Hassan, this is your question.
Actually, I'm not the Mufti. All I know is, look at myself. I'm from a majority Shia family, from a majority Shia country. I staunchly believe, and it's life experience, and I lived in more than one country, in Europe alone, that most Shias, alhamdulillah, especially Iranians, don't give a I wanted to say they don't give a shit. They don't give anything about Shias. Most of them are not really at all. Are nice people. And in fact, many of them, subhanAllah, are tired of all this khurafat and all this nonsense in the name of Ahlul Bayt. From the carnival Ashura in the name of Hussein radiallahu anhu, all this grave veneration and quburiya, all this nonsense. It's just, of course, haq and batil mixed. People, some of them perceive this wrong religion sect as the Islam, and therefore they think Islam is bad. In either case, we live the world has become a village. We live with people who have severe differences of opinions, people who hate Islam outrightly, everything. We live with them. They're our neighbors. I believe there was actually, Isma'il, and I have to give credit to you, there's a beautiful video, a discussion between you and a Jew. And there was a lot of comments of non-Muslims and atheists included. And I really, really enjoyed the comments. You know what they said about you and the Jew? They said, wow, look at these both. They have like completely different opinions because the Jew was a Zionist. Yet, despite having such differences of opinion, at the end of the day, they said, take care, you go your way, I go my way, we both live in London, no problem. So I say, yes, limits must be kept, and that's why people who don't know what these people have done to me, or more precisely to my family, threatening my children, spreading my number, images of my children, people don't know these things. Although here and there I mentioned it. These were these things that made me enraged and angry. There's a reason why, for example, Hassan Shemrani went to the first debate where Shubayri was and confronted them, and they portrayed as if, I'm just violent. It's not like that. We have to keep it civil. We live with these people, and however, it doesn't mean that we sugarcoat what we believe. Shia has the right to believe what he is upon is 100% true, and mine is wrong.
Obviously, I think what the brother meant was the Rafida who curse the Sahaba, these Shias in particular. What do you think about them? And can we?
I wouldn't take such a person, my friend. Simple. I wouldn't take someone. Would the Rafidi? Let's turn the questions for them, Akhi. Could we go to, you know, because sometimes they argue about freedom of speech and everything. Can I go to Karbala and curse the 12th Imam who's non-existent, who is some mythical big scam, you know, and his name Khums is collected? Can I go around and say this? At the very least, I will get imprisoned, isn't it? No. There's limits, you know. They can't. There's limits, so we have to. Even I accept the limits. And look, they believe that I'm extreme. They believe that I have blind hatred for them. It's not true. I would see a Sunni who goes to Karbala, yeah, and he's very offensive towards the beliefs. Yeah, I would say, Sunni, you're the dumbest person on earth. Whatever happens to you, you deserve it. Are you dumb? Why you? This is their land. You have to abide by the law. You know, you got imprisoned. It's your fault, for example. Yeah, there's even here we got rules. Anyway, the thing is, people have to really keep it. You know, I know sometimes we get emotional. This is our beliefs. You know, we are passionate about it. But in the end of the day, we have to keep it civil. And even if we dislike each other, you see, today you could hear. You know, I made some comments. I dislike some of them, especially those who lied upon me and whatnot. You know, those who make sly comments, talk like the Riddler on their Facebook. But then that's it. In the end of the day, we do our job. We do what we do. We write our articles. We do our da'wah. Our da'wah is tawheed. And they, I don't know what they call it. Tashayyu, Ali ibn Abi Talib, you know, they can do whatever they want to do. And we do what we do. I mean it. I genuinely believe people must understand that this is not the Wild West, you know. Oh yeah, all right. Shia's curse. Okay, what do you imply with that? Shia's curse. That you go now harm a Shia or what? It's over. We are living now in the world is a village. A Shia who might curse could be your neighbor, a Christian who hates Islam, or an atheist who hates Islam, or or whatever. You know, we have to keep it civil, and we have to. This should be our weapon. Academia, yeah, and invite the people to the truth. And as Allah said in the Quran, we invite to that which is the best, and the people will, inshallah, follow that which is the best. If we are confident and we know we have the truth, we have the Sahaba, we have the Ahlul Bayt, we don't need to be scared. We call the people as good as we can. We try to improve our akhlaq to the truth. You know, as for obviously we have our limits. I understand, Akhi, the question. I know what the brother means. He means, yeah, what shall people cause I get angry? Stay away from them, Akhi. You know, Alhamdulillah, I'm in a situation where my family, we don't have people who curse Sahabas. I don't have an issue. If I would have people in my close proximity, people, I would stay away from them. Got nothing to do. No.
Yeah, and I will also add to that myself is that you know, we have to keep in mind that the Shia, generally speaking, comes in very different shapes and forms. Obviously, if there's a Shi'i who's slandering the Sahaba to your face, obviously a person like this, you know, he's a filthy individual. We don't want to sit with someone like this at all, you know, until he washes his mouth and he repents. But if there's a person who is sincerely, you know, he's been, you know, just he has some doubts in his heart, and you know, obviously, majority of Shias, especially us, like me and Hassan, who come from Shia backgrounds, you know, like I remember personally when I was young, like living in Iran, you know, we used to call the dogs, stray dogs, Omar and Osman. You know, this was the type of mentality that all people had when we grew up. So, you know, people like this, you can't blame them for having doubts. And obviously, it's upon us as a da'iyah, as a du'at, to clarify the situation for them if the person is sincere. If they're not sincere, which many of them are not sincere, then obviously we shouldn't pay any attention to them. We should not sit with them at all, I believe, because, you know, they have such diseased hearts, and Shias in particular. You know, I find that a extreme Shia is virtually impossible to get through to a person like this. You know, you have probably better chance getting through to an atheist, much better chance, or a Christian or a Jew, rather than a Shi'i who's extreme in his thinking. So obviously it depends on the person individually. You know, we have to take it from on that basis, and we can't just say they're all the same. It's not true. You know, they all come in different shapes and form. So that was just my little input.
Oh, Jazakallah khair. Yeah, and I don't know, the other brothers went into Ghaiba to Sughra. They went. Hey guys, are you in the minor?
Farid, you
Yeah,
still
yeah,
there?
I'm still here. I'm still here, man. Hani was yawning. I caught Hani yawning. I clicked on his image. I saw him yawning a few seconds ago.
I'm just finishing some office work.
One funny thing, some of these extremists, they heard out that I called Kalam you pussy hole.
What?
No, he misheard you.
Yeah, I said you poor soul. Yeah.
Yeah. You first said, yo, you call me pussy, yo.
Because in the first interview, he propped them up and he presented them as the Shias and the underdogs in the Muslim world, always persecuted. So when I was confronted with this kalam the first time in my life at the park, I said to him, you poor soul. And it was loud there. He said to me, and then these Shias are gassed now, the extremists from, I don't know, this Rana, what is it called? Bay'at al-Ghadir. Yeah, akhi, you look at the musibah, akhi. They don't even, some of them can't pronounce their own organization, yeah? They call it Bayt al-Ghadir, the house of Ghadir. They want to say Bay'at.
Yeah, I think they changed it after you made that point. They changed it, I think.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. You see, akhi, we can do these games. We can play this. If they can play that game, we can play it too. You know? Oh, Hassan Shemrani said, you pussy hole. I mean, you know, as they say, you understand what you actually, what you might want to hear. Yeah. So maybe those extremists, they wanted to hear this word. Well, I called him. I said to him, you poor soul. You don't know that Sunnis, especially my country, are persecuted since 500 years. A massacre went on. The Safavis. Read about the Safavis. This is not exaggerated. Giving them all this platform, you know, playing on this Sunni Shia thing now to get your views. Anyway, you know what, akhi, at the end of the day, we're gonna do our stuff. 12 Shia, as you said, brother Abdul Hamid, you said that some Shias unfortunately are very biased. You don't see much hope and for them coming to the truth, leaving all these khurafat and bid'at and dalalat in the name of Ahlul Bayt. Akhi, I can't agree more with you. That's why me, since the day I left Shi'ism, at the very least, I know the month, it was December 2003. Because I knew myself and the people around me, I knew that the only way forward is to protect the body of Ahlul Sunnah wa Jama'ah. It's because we have the advantage. We are by default the majority anyway. It is upon us to educate the Sunni Muslims. And this is what 12shia.net stands for. This is why I love this project and part of this project. This is why I write, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing since more than a decade. Because I believe it is more, you will see the fruits more by doing da'wah to the Sunni masses and educating them than going to the minority and trying to convince them. You know, because there's something psychological behind it. Remember, a minority is always, what do you call it, very, very binded by minority status, by his ethnic background, by his religion. As a friend of mine said, the ex-Shia scholar who helped me to leave Shi'ism, he said to me, how many ex-Ismailis do you know? I said, not many. How many ex-Qadianis do you know? Although their religion is so batil, yani, it's mubayyin. He said, why? Because you see, it is rare, because they are minorities. It is their whole asset. It is their whole, identity. Not impossible. I'm an ex-Shia. You're ex-Shia. We know. In fact, me and Abu, how many just on our WhatsApp group are ex-Shia? There's many. We know. We don't have a doubt that there's many ex-Shias. But despite having met many ex-Shias in my life, including active ones like Abu Isma'il, I still put all my energy and effort into doing general da'wah, general as in refuting shubuhat and attacks on Ahlul, and addressing Ahlul Sunnah, the masses first.
Hassan, يعني to be honest, we all have our own different manhajiyat, our own different types of methodologies when it comes to da'wah. Me personally, I never write, well, not never, but 9 out of 10 cases, I purposefully attempt to write for Shias. I don't write for Sunnis. I believe that Sunnis will generally stay Sunnis, and I think that just you know, even when I'm writing for Shias, Sunnis will still take major benefit. We all have our different ways of looking at things, and me personally, even though, sure, yes, I do agree with you that the minority mentality and growing up hating Sahaba, you know, is quite an obstacle to get past. However, I still feel much more. I don't know. It feels much more of a priority to me. But that's just me.
No. المهم, the game has been changed with 12 Shia. Trust me. When I left Shi'ism, what was around? Shia chat, al-Islam org. Ever since then, thousands of shubuhat. Sunnis was here and there, some few stuff. 12 Shia. I say it this way without exaggerating, and I can praise it very in your faces because it's not. I'm not the founder of the website. 12shia.net, people will appreciate it not now, and not in a few years. In a few decades, people will appreciate it in the English-speaking world. Then, and I already see the fruits. I already see where, how many times on social media where not you see people throwing this argument, that argument, you know, before had no ammunition whatsoever, nothing. They were standing there, you know, every Shia, because they're very sectarian by nature, and you know the deen doesn't revolve around Tawheed and Sunnah, using siwak, filling the gaps in Salah, Qira'ah. That's not the deen. That deen is from childhood, you know, if they become religious, Bukhari said, Muslim said, Bukhari said, you know, Sahaba, that's the deen. Some Latin wailing, and that's the deen, unfortunately.
Allah is sad.
So Sunnis are not prepared. Now I see change. How many times I saw Awam bringing this argument, bringing that argument, bringing the names of the children of Ali, bringing many arguments. In the past, nobody even wasn't aware of, you know, wasn't even aware of. I mean, one article alone on 12 Shia, and you look how powerful. One, Umar gave a whole land other than Fadak as a present to Ali bin Abi Talib. What is it called, the land? The land of... Huh?
Yambu'.
Yambu', yeah. Yambu' with I think, yeah, Yambu'. المهم, these things, معلومات, these information, it's just wow, yani. And how are you going to explain these things away? Omar was drunk. Omar was, I don't know, he suddenly, everybody has there's something good in him. What? Enough of these games. So, inshallah, I see a positive future. I see that these things will change, will educate masses. And the more the masses are educated, the less they can be attacked and be brainwashed with shubuhat. That's the important thing. That's important.
Hani, anything you want to add? Or?
Yeah, I think it's enough, isn't it?
I think today was a very good first day of going live. There's a lot of things that we need to cover, so inshallah we'll do that in the future.
We can do this.
Hani, anything that you want to add?
No, not really. Just if we can specify the topics of discussion next time, so that we can maybe come better prepared, maybe with sources.
Yeah. They obviously was very random. It was very like we just improvised just to test out.
Yeah.
To see how it works.
That's what we were doing.
So for next time, we're gonna have something proper and organized and in depth as well. And there's a lot of things coming up, inshallah. So
if you guys enjoyed this video, comment, like, subscribe.
Abu Abdullah, are you doing taqiyya? It's such a Shian.
What, for promoting? Keep your notifications on. Smash that like button. You know the deal.
Yeah, smash that like button. Visit 12shia.net. Visit the Facebook page. Twitter page.
Follow Hassan Shemrani on Twitter.
Who's Hassan Shemrani, Akhi?
Who's Hassan Shemrani? Who?
And last time I checked, the penguin is a very sweet animal and very positive. When you type penguin, everybody loves him. They call him penguin, Akhi.
Okay, khair, inshallah. So anything else? Then we just end the day, inshallah. To all the brothers and sisters that tuned in, Jazakumullah khair for taking your time to listen to us. Inshallah, do like and share the video and stay tuned for what's to come next, inshallah. We're going to have a lot of things coming up. And without any further ado, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ya Jama'ah. Ya Jama'at al-Khair.
All right, Isma'il, click up a